Hello again and welcome to another video from the Marketing Study Guide. In this video, I'm going to explain why we would be targeting to have satisfied customers rather than delighted customers, which doesn't make sense, but we'll have a look through the mechanisms and find out why we would do that. My name is Jeff and I'm a long-term marketing lecturer and practitioner. Okay, just a quick overview of customer satisfaction, which you probably already know, but it's the intersection between what consumers are expecting to get prior to the purchase and the perceived value that they think they get following the purchase. So it's like a comparison point. Now, they don't necessarily sit down and do it on paper, but they would actually think either quickly for a reflex decision, a low involvement decision, oh gee, that was a bit disappointing, or that was great. Or if it's a more complex, higher involved decision, they may spend time discussing the pros and cons either with themselves or with their partner or whatever the household decision making was, and come to some sort of conclusion about whether that was a good buy or not. Okay, so it's a point of comparison simply. So we bring those two things together, and either it's positive or negative or neutral. Okay, and we end up in the scale somewhere. Now, there's three boxes here, but the scale is a continuum. So we could, at one end, we are very satisfied. Some marketing textbooks will say that's delighted. Then we scale down progressively to just satisfied. So that's a point where, yeah, that's okay. Obviously, there's places in the middle, and then down to dissatisfied and potentially very dissatisfied and quite angry. Okay, so let's go through 4 approaches and then work out why pursuing satisfied customers is the best approach. Now, this is a poor approach. This is where we set expectations quite low. Okay, and we do that because we've either got poor, inefficient marketing communications. We could be a retailer that has a poor-looking store. It could be a restaurant that looks run down, for example. So people walking by and go, oh, no, that doesn't look too good. So that sets expectations quite low. However, for the customers who do go in, they might find that it was okay in terms of value. So that immediately creates a positive or a delighted customer, okay? Because what's happening is they didn't expect much. So you might see a little cafe or a diner or something, and it doesn't look much, and but you don't have a lot of choices. You could be traveling, it could be out away from your normal habitat, and you go, okay, well, it's better than nothing. I need some food, and you go in, and the meal is pretty good, or it's good value, or something like that. The service is great, and you go, gee, that was good, and you walk out satisfied. Okay, now the problem with this and why it's a poor approach is from a marketing perspective. By setting expectations low, yet we will end up with positive customer satisfaction. However, we will only attract a relatively small number of new customers, and that is not ideal. In marketing, we want to be bringing in customers and holding them and building a customer base over time. This business here, the only way forward is online reviews, positive word of mouth, that sort of thing, which will take a long time for the company to build. And each time we're operating, we're not bringing in new customers to the same level. So it's an unsustainable business approach. This approach is even worse, okay? And we see this often. And this is a business that probably relies on a one-off sale. This is where they set expectations really high. Their marketing communications is talking about how wonderful they are, etc. And when you get the product or the service, it's disappointing. And we end up with a lot of dissatisfied customers. Now, clearly, this is not a long-term business. This may work for, as I said, a one-off sale. So you might see something on the internet that has a very structured sales funnel and it captures you and your email, and constantly it gives you offers, etc. And it's got one product to sell, and it's got nothing else to sell you. So they're chasing, that one transaction. Or potentially it's a tourist business, so it's a popular city for tourists. Might be again a restaurant type scenario there, and there's no concept of repeat business because there's always another tourist coming the next week. Now the problem with this, obviously we have a lot of new customers coming in because the expectations are high, but they do not come back. Okay, so for a standard business that relies on repeat business, which is most companies, this is a really bad approach. Now this is a better approach, okay, not the best, but a better approach. And here, instead of having low expectations, we've worked with our marketing communications to try and get, a fairly good level of communications. Okay, we're setting expectations rather than here at the midpoint. Now we know we can deliver above that. We've got very high value and high service, and we've done that deliberately with mismatched expectations and performance in order to get delighted customers. Okay, so that's an interesting strategy, and some companies will do that. Now the problem with that is we are limiting the new customers coming in because we've set expectations not at an appropriate level, but at a midpoint level to deliberately structure a very positive customer satisfaction score. We're actually limiting the new customers coming in. So yeah, longer term, word of mouth will work in our favor, and we'll have delighted customers, and they should stay loyal. And we've got to make sure we deliver on that. So it could be a good long-term strategy, but there's also limitations of that initial customer flow. This is probably the best approach to customer satisfaction. And we're not targeting, like in the last example, delighted customers. We're actually going for satisfied customers. Now, again, this assumes we can deliver on our performance like we could in the last time. But this time we're actually setting expectations quite high. Our marketing communications are communicating that we've got great value or great service or whatever we're selling, what the key benefits are, and we offer it superior to our competitors. And when the customer walks in and deals with us with high expectations, but we deliver to that level, and yep, that's what I expected. So we end up with a satisfied customer rather than a delighted customer. Now the reason we would do this approach is because we raise those expectations. We're going to have a greater customer flow, so more people coming in, which is fantastic. And because we're providing that value, they are satisfied. So satisfied customers are going to be quite loyal. Okay, even though the delighted one's probably going to be more loyal and share reviews, etc. We've got less of them there. So let's just compare the four approaches just to make sense of it. So this is the four I work through in order. So the first one, few customers, because our expectations are low. Then we've got many, because we have high expectations. So the combinations. So medium, many. Okay, we end up with delighted customers because expectations are low. Dissatisfied customers because of high expectations. Delighted again because we were medium, we were high, and then just satisfied. And if we work through the mechanics of it, in terms of long-term customers, which is the ultimate goal of most businesses, except for those tourist and one-off transaction businesses, here we'll end up with a few customers, a medium level of customers, and a medium to high level of customers. And this one is superior because A, we're attracting a lot more customers, and then we're satisfying them, and means the loyalty is going to be pretty good on a whole bunch of customers. And this one here is going to be the second because we're attracting less customers, but with strong loyalty. Okay, so we don't have as many customers, but our loyalty will be a lot higher. And they're the rankings, and that's why pursuing satisfied customers rather than delighted customers should be the better long-term approach to a business. So hopefully that video was helpful for you. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos on marketing.